One of the reasons many people leave relationships or perhaps end their relationships is because they feel taken for granted. And a lot of times when people tell us or our loved ones tell us that I feel taken for granted, first of all, we should count it a privilege, because when people feel taken for granted, they most likely just exit your life and stop giving you access to them. But when they now let you know that they feel taken for granted, the wisdom will not be to deny it and say, I never take you for granted, because we do not take people for granted intentionally. Every time you take people for granted, it's an unintentional action. It's something you do out of default, not out of even your consciousness. The reason we take people for granted is because we are not intentional in the first place. So before you say, no, I can never take you for granted, why don't you pause and think about it? Is your action really taking them for granted? Are you really acting in a way that that communicates that it doesn't matter how they feel, you do what you do? Are you really considering how they feel when you're making decisions? Are you really considering them in the things that you do? Because taking people for granted is not being mindful of how they feel about whatever it is you're doing.